Here today with Cody McGuire of the Bridge City Cardinals. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
Welcome. So we're in the spring. You're a football coach, so that means there's nothing to do. You're just going to sit around. Well, no. Um, Busiest time of year for you guys. It's baseball, softball, golf, track, and graduation's coming up. So,
Yes,
and I'm sure I left some things out, but
yes, sir.
you're seeing your kids play in other sports, you're seeing them in the weight room. How are things going so far in the spring?
It's been great this year. We've had last year we were in the process of getting turf, so we didn't have anywhere to, run, and we didn't have a track, we didn't have a field because we were getting new turf and and a new track. So this year we had access to a track and turf, and our workouts have been a lot better. Kids are stronger, faster. It's been a great off season.
All right, so if you don't mind, kind of walk me through your team. You're going to have a couple of kids, I'm sure, graduate here in a couple of weeks. So who's not going to be back? Who is going to be back? Who might step into new roles?
Right. So we're losing Noah Broussard, who was really a great H back, inside receiver for us, but he had ended up having to play quarterback for us this year. We went through four quarterbacks because of injury, and so we moved him. He ended up playing quarterback for us and doing a great job just because he's a competitor. Um, J.S. Bearden was a honorable mention All-State player for us as a junior. He only played in like 3 games because of concussions. We're losing him. Mason Pruitt had about 150 tackles as a junior. At linebacker, was an all-district linebacker for us this year. He ended up breaking his leg, but 2 games before our Silsby game. So anyway, losing him, going to be hard to replace. We're losing some senior old linemen. Um, we Matt Livingston was a big kid. He was about 6'4", 270, 275. Um, Sebastian Sandino wasn't a big kid, but he also played goalie on our soccer team, played offensive line, played guard for us, just a competitor. So those are some of the kids that we're losing. Defensively, we got a bunch of our DB. We had 2 sophomore cornerbacks. We had a junior safety, 2 junior safeties that are coming back. Rayburn Hebert, we're probably going to move him to outside linebacker. He's not a big kid, but he's a tough kid. Makes great, a great open field tackler. We might leave him in the secondary. We're just toying, we're toying with that right now. But we got Steven Stone, we got Jagger Carlin, we got Austin Bellinger coming back in the secondary. We got to find 2 inside linebackers. We got Nick Lejeune at nose, he squatted 620 this year, benched 410. And then deadlifted like 560, 570. So it was just a strong kid playing nose for us. We got Bryce Linder coming back at defensive end. And then we got one end open. We got Aiden Richardson, who played offensive tackle for us as a junior. He'll be a senior next year. He's going to play offensive tackle and some defensive end for us. Gavin Bowden's a receiver that's coming back. My son, Case McGuire, will be a junior next year. He's a receiver. And we got some of these kids that are going to play both ways. I talked to a lot of them, and my thing is like we have 5 ways you get on the field, and one of them is you play hard every play in practice and in a game. So I said, if you don't play hard on one side of the ball, I'm not going to let you play both ways. So I got a bunch of kids that want to try to play both ways, but I said, as long as you're giving me everything you got, we'll give you a shot at it.
All right, so kind of walk us through your district and what you think those teams might look like this fall.
Well, last year at one point, 4 of the teams in our district were in the top 10: Hampshire Fannett, Silsby, West Orange, and Jasper. And so those teams are very, very talented. And then we've got Liberty, Hardin Jefferson, and us. So it's very, very tough district. Kids, a lot of tough kids compete well. A lot of those that I mentioned before have a lot of kids getting recruited. Silsby has that receiver, Draylon Miller can go anywhere he wants. Hampshire Fannett has talent. Coach Wagner does a great job with those kids. That program is improved. I've only been in Southeast Texas 2 years, but from what I've heard is, they weren't very good for a long, long time, and Coach Wagner's got that program turned around. Jasper, Coach Crumity, Jasper does a great job. Those kids, I mean, if you see those kids at a powerlifting meet or at a track meet, man, they look the part. West Orange is West Orange. Always got some talent, tough kids, get after it. So it's a very, very tough district, but it's, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
So you've been around coaching for a few years. You've been at bigger schools, you've been at smaller schools. From your perspective, what would you say the biggest challenge facing Texas high school athletics right now is?
I would say the biggest challenge for all of Texas is just getting these kids to understand that it doesn't matter who you're playing, that you always got a shot. Some of these kids, they read too much into, oh, this kid's a 5-star, this kid's a 4-star. Oh, we don't have a chance. I mean, that's why you go play the game. That's the beauty of, high school and college football. You go play the game. Anybody can beat anybody on a Friday or Saturday night.
All right. So let's go from bigger picture to smaller picture, try and learn a little bit about Cody McGuire. What would you say your number one guilty pleasure is?
Oh, man, I would, sweets. It's in my family, there's diabetes in my family. And so my wife's always telling me, you better watch, eventually, it could come and get you. And I was like, man, I hope not. I pray that the good Lord that I don't get diabetes, because I love eating sweets. I love candy. I love cakes. I love pies. I love ice cream. I love it all. So, and I'm not, I love it. I love to go find that stuff. And, my favorite part of a meal is dessert. So.
You mentioned you've only been there in Southeast Texas for a couple of years. Have you managed to grab your fishing pole and get out there beside the bridge there in Bridge City and do some fishing?
We've been out crabbing. Learned how to crab out there at Bailey's Road. Also, when I got here, I met a guy named Johnny Montaigne. He took me gator hunting. And so that was very, very cool experience. So I got to take my son with me, and we got to go out there and do that. And, that was a great experience that I'll never forget.
All right, Coach. Well, sounds like you're learning what Southeast Texas is about. Thank you very much for your time today, and best of luck as you wrap up the school year and move into the 23 season.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate the time, and anything I can do for you, let me know.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.